All right, welcome back everyone for another deep dive into some really cool new research.
Yeah, this is a fun one.
Definitely. So last week, February 13th, SciTechDaily.com posted an article called Scientists Just Unlocked a New Way to Supercharge Wireless Speeds with Graphene.
Graphene, huh? Always up to something interesting.
It really is, and this time it looks like it could help us make wireless communication much faster, like way faster.
Faster than 5G.
Oh yeah, think like 6G and beyond even.
Wow.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole thing.
Okay, so what we're really talking about here is terahertz.
Is terahertz? Okay.
You've heard of gigahertz.
Gigahertz, yeah.
Like what our phones use now with 5G.
Right.
Well, terahertz is like the next level up. These waves, they vibrate super, super fast. That means they can carry a ton of data.
Oh, wow. Okay, I'm with you. So cool. But how does graphene fit into all of this? We've talked about graphene before on the show. It's super strong and it conducts electricity really well.
Right, it's like a wonder material.
But what's it doing with these terahertz waves?
Okay, well, that's where this research gets really interesting. One of the biggest challenges with using terahertz for communication is you have to convert the signals from the frequencies we use now, those gigahertz, up to the terahertz range. And doing that efficiently has been really hard.
I can imagine.
It's like trying to fit a fire hose into a garden hose.
Yeah.
It's just not going to work very well.
Makes sense.
But these researchers from the University of Ottawa, they think they found a way to use graphene to basically smooth out that conversion, make it way more efficient.
So they're using graphene as like a terahertz adapter?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Okay, cool. How did they figure that out?
Well, it's pretty technical, but basically they created this special kind of antenna inside the graphene that vibrates at just the right frequency to catch those terahertz waves and make them stronger. They combined a few different strategies to fine-tune it.
Wow. So if this actually works the way they think it will, what kind of real-world stuff could we actually use this for?
Well, have you ever wanted to, attend a conference in Japan, experience the culture,
Yeah.
but without leaving your office?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
With this kind of speed, we could have incredibly immersive virtual reality experiences, or you could download a whole movie in just a few seconds.
Wow. Okay, so the possibilities are kind of mind-boggling, but wouldn't we also need to, completely change all of our devices and networks? I mean, everything's built for gigahertz right now, not terahertz.
That's true, yeah. This tech is definitely still early.
Uh-huh.
Lots of hurdles to overcome.
Yeah.
But in the paper, they specifically talk about using this for future communication systems. So it seems like they're already thinking about 6G and beyond.
Okay, that makes sense. And you mentioned earlier that this might not even be limited to graphene.
Right.
So are you saying there could be even better materials out there?
Yeah, the researchers actually suggest that this method could work with other materials, maybe even some that are better at manipulating these terahertz waves than graphene is.
Wow, so this graphene breakthrough might just be the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. And who knows what other amazing materials are out there just waiting to be discovered.
Okay, so we've got graphene acting as a terahertz amplifier, the potential for ridiculously fast communication, and the possibility of discovering even better materials for this.
Yeah,
This is huge.
it is.
So where do we go from here?
Well, that's what we'll be looking at next. The researchers still have a lot of work to do to refine this tech and figure out how to actually apply it to real-world situations.
All right, sounds good. Can't wait to hear more about it.
Yeah, it should be interesting. They've got some pretty big goals for the future, like fine-tuning that graphene antenna and testing it with a wider range of terahertz frequencies. Plus, they need to figure out how to actually integrate this whole thing into our current communication systems.
Right, because it's not like we can just suddenly switch everything over to terahertz. So what are some of the biggest challenges they're going to face with that?
Well, miniaturization is a big one. Right now, their setup is pretty bulky. Not exactly something you could fit in your pocket.
Yeah,
So you got to figure out how to shrink everything down without losing performance.
that sounds pretty tough. And what about battery life? Our phones already die fast enough as it is. Wouldn't this super fast communication just make it even worse?
That's a great question, and it's something they're definitely looking into. It's possible they might have to come up with completely new types of batteries or find ways to make the terahertz transmission itself more energy efficient.
Interesting. So it sounds like this is going to be a pretty massive project to actually bring this technology to market.
Oh yeah, it'll be huge. But the potential payoff is enormous. We're not just talking about faster downloads here.
Right.
This could totally change things like healthcare and manufacturing, even space exploration.
Wow, okay.
Imagine surgeons doing surgery remotely with perfect precision from anywhere in the world, or engineers monitoring infrastructure in real time from thousands of miles away.
It's like we're on the verge of this huge technological leap forward.
Exactly.
But speaking of implications, you mentioned that this graphene breakthrough could just be the beginning.
Oh, right.
What did you mean by that?
Well, the researchers said that this method might actually work with other materials besides graphene. It's possible there are other materials out there that are even better at manipulating terahertz waves.
So there could be like a whole new class of terahertz materials just waiting to be discovered.
Exactly. And that's what's so exciting about this. We could uncover materials with properties we haven't even thought of yet.
Okay, that's pretty mind-blowing. But let's talk about the potential downsides for a second. Are there any risks associated with this technology that we should be thinking about?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, like with any powerful technology, there's always the potential for misuse.
Right.
For example, terahertz waves can penetrate some materials, which could raise some privacy concerns.
It's like giving our devices X-ray vision, which, I mean, could be useful in some situations, but also kind of creepy.
Exactly. So we need to be having these conversations now to make sure that as we develop this technology, we're doing it responsibly and ethically.
Yeah, I think that's really important. This terahertz thing has really got me thinking about, like, the big picture of scientific progress. Right?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, here are these scientists. They're not even necessarily trying to revolutionize wireless communication. They're just kind of exploring graphene and terahertz waves out of curiosity.
Right, pure science.
And bam, they make this potentially huge discovery.
That's how it often works, right?
Yeah, it's like you're just walking along a path and then, boom, you stumble across a treasure chest.
Exactly. And I think it reminds us that we should never underestimate the power of just following your curiosity. Who knows what other amazing stuff is out there just waiting to be found?
Totally. So this research was done in Canada at the University of Ottawa. But I'm guessing this isn't just a Canadian thing, right?
Oh, no, not at all. Scientists all over the world are working on terahertz tech, Europe, Asia, the U.S.
Okay.
It's a real global effort.
That's cool. It's like everyone's working together to figure this thing out.
Yeah, there's a lot of collaboration in the scientific community. Everyone's excited about the potential here.
Okay, so last question. We've talked a lot about the benefits of terahertz. But how do you think this tech could change society as a whole?
That's a big question. I mean, if we really can achieve these kinds of speeds, we're talking about a level of connectivity we've never seen before.
Right.
So it really raises the question, what kind of future do we want to build?
Yeah.
Will all this connectivity bring us closer together? Or will it just make us more isolated, stuck in our own little digital bubbles?
That's a good point.
It's something we need to be thinking about now.
Absolutely.
As we develop these technologies, we have to consider the ethical implications.
Yeah, I think that's really important. So to wrap things up, let's leave our listeners with one final thought. If terahertz does become the norm, what will we do with all that speed and connectivity? Will we use it to solve problems, to bring people together? Or will we just find new ways to distract ourselves?
It's a powerful tool, and it's up to us to decide how we use it.
Well said. Well, on that note, I think we'll wrap up this deep dive. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure. And to our listeners, keep asking questions. Stay curious. You never know what you might discover.
5F